Okay, this is solving equations with rational numbers part 2. In this one, we are working with decimals. And one way that you can work through decimals is by removing the decimal and making everything whole numbers. And I'll show you how to do that now. So Javier walks from his house to the zoo at a constant rate. After walking 75 hundredths of a mile, he meets his brother Raul, and they continue walking at the same constant rate. When they arrive at the zoo, Javier has walked for 5/10 of an hour, and Raul has walked for 2/10 of an hour. What is the rate in miles per hour in which the brothers walk to the zoo? So we have where Javier has walked 75 hundredths of a mile, and he meets his brother Raul, and they continue walking, so that we know that Raul walked for 2/10 of an hour. So for all of Raul's, it would be the 75 hundredths of a mile and the 2/10 of an hour that Raul walked. And so that's where the distance to the zoo comes in. But we know that all together, Javier walked the entire way, which is the 5/10 of R. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this equation. I'm going to rewrite it. Plus 75 hundredths equals 5/10 R. And what we're going to do here is we are going to solve to find out the R. Okay. So here we're going to get rid of the decimals, and we see that this one has one place past the decimal, this one has 2 places past the decimal, and this one has 1. Because this one is 2/10 past the decimal, or 2 sections, 2 digits, we know that this is 75 hundredths. So to get rid of this decimal, we would have to multiply it by 100. And, as usual, we need to make sure that if we're making any changes, we're making the same change to everything to maintain that balance. So I'm going to multiply both sides of the equal sign by 100 to get rid of those decimals. So that would look like if I took 100 times 2/10 R plus 75 hundredths equals 100 times 5/10 R. Okay? And I'll move that over a little more. And so this is distributive property. So we're going to have 100 times this and 100 times this. And then on the other side, we're going to have 100 times that. So we're going to take 100 times 2/10, and we're going to get 20 R. We're going to take 100 times 75 hundredths, and that's going to give us 75. And then over here we have 100 times 5/10, and so that's going to become 50 R. So no decimals, just whole numbers, much easier to work with. You can work them through with decimals, but this is how we get rid of the decimals. Now I have to decide which side I want my variables on. So if I take 20 from both sides, this would become a positive 30R. If I take 50 from both sides, this would be a negative 30. The other thing I notice is that I have 2 sections of numbers on this side, but only 1 on this one. So if I just move this over, it just makes a lot more sense. And so I'm going to have 75 is equal to 30R. Now I'm going to take and I'm going to divide both sides by 30 to get rid of that. And 75 divided by 30 is 2 5/10. So it took them, they want to know what is the rate in miles per hour that each brother walked to the zoo. So they walked 2 5/10 miles per hour. Okay. So we have our Your Turn number 5. Logan has 2 aquariums. One aquarium contains 1.3 cubic feet of water. The other contains 1 9/10 cubic feet of water. Water in the larger aquarium weighs 37 44 hundredths of pounds more than the water in the smaller aquarium. Write an equation with the variable on both sides to represent the situation, and then find the weight of 1 cubic foot of water. So the first thing we need to do is come up with our equation. So when we look at this, we know that one aquarium is smaller and then the other one is larger. So we know that this one is equal to this plus this. So we have 1.9, let's do W, is equal to 1.3 W plus 37.44. And this gives me the equation for this problem. Now I have some people that have asked, does it have to be a W for my variable? And no, it does not. You could use an X. You could have used A. It doesn't matter, whatever variable you want. Now we have to decide how to solve for this. Because I have a variable on both sides, what I want to do is to get all the variables on one side and the numbers on the other. And in this case, I want to move this W over here with this one. So I'm going to subtract the term 1 3/10 W from both sides. And when I do that, I get 6/10 W equals 37 44 hundredths. Now I'm going to divide both sides by 6/10. And that's going to give me 62 4/10. That is the weight of 1 cubic foot of water. So this is going to be in pounds. Okay, so there's our solution. There's our equation, and there's our solution. Okay. So we have this example. Sandy is upgrading her internet service. Fast internet charges $60 for installation and $50.45 per month. Quick internet has free installation but charges $57.95 per month. So what I want you to do is to come up with an equation that can be used to find the number of months at which the internet service would cost the same. So here's the equation. This side here is the fast internet charges, $60 plus $50.45 per month. And then the quick internet is on this side. It is $57.95 per month because there's no installation, so it's a zero. And they want to know when the two are equal. Once we have found this, now I want you to find the solution. So how many months would it be for the internet service to cost the same? Okay, you should have found that it is going to be at 8 months. Both services would cost the same amount. Okay, we have a couple examples to work on. Our first one is number 5. 2 25 hundredths T plus 5 equals 13 5/10 T plus 14. And we need to solve this. And the first thing I need to decide is what am I going to multiply by to get rid of my decimals. If you said 100, you are correct. So we're going to take 100 times by 2 25 hundredths T plus 5 equals my 100 times 13 5/10 T plus 14. Distribute. So I get 225 T plus 500 equals 1,350 plus 1,400. Let's see, forgot my T. Solve for T. At the end, you should have gotten -4/5 equals T. And because it's in decimals, we're actually going to change this to a negative 8/10 t, because if you take negative 4 divided by 5, you get negative 8/10. Okay? And there's your solution to that. Now take the time to work on 6 and check back to see if you got the same answer. So you should have found that you would multiply both sides of the equation by 10 to reduce the decimals, and once you solved it, you should find that W equals 120. This one is finding the perimeters of the rectangles that are shown. Says that they are equal. What is the perimeter of each rectangle? And one of the things that we need to remember is what the formula is for finding the perimeters of rectangles. So when I have a rectangle, I know that I have two sides that are of equal size. They have 90-degree angles. One is the length and one is the width. And if I'm going to find the perimeter of those, I would add all four sides. So there are two lengths and there are two widths. I could further simplify this by saying if I add the length and the width and do it twice, I would have the same. So if I could take 2 times the length plus the width, I would have the perimeter of that rectangle. Apply this information to what we have here. So I would have, and if they're equal to each other, we're going to have 2 times the length plus the width is equal to 2 times the length plus the width on this side. My length for this one is n plus 0.6 plus my width, which is n. And on this one, my length is 2n, and my width is n plus 0.1. I can combine my like terms inside my parentheses. Three n's. Now I can distribute and solve for n. If you have any questions, please let me know.